Hi there, Zach with Fine Skills. This is going to be a video demonstration of our auto apply trust feature. The idea behind this feature is when you push a Filevine invoice into QuickBooks, our integration can check to see if that client or case has a positive trust balance. If they do, we can apply that trust balance against the invoice, immediately marking that invoice as paid and immediately decreasing that client's total trust balance in QuickBooks. So I went and created a brand new Filevine project here, Autos Estate Planning. Let's go ahead and create a retainer balance for this client. So I'm going to QuickBooks. In this example, I would have received a check to true up or to, refresh the retainer. I'm depositing into my trust bank account. I'm always tagging my Filevine project in the receive from here. So O apply is auto applied. And of course, every single time I'm affecting my trust bank account asset account, I'm also hitting the trust settlement liability account. If I do that every time, then the bank account and the liability account in QuickBooks will always agree. That's the goal there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and call this retainer deposit. And this isn't part of the integration, but this is just a nice little way to record in your history what happened. And let's see, we'll do a $1,000 retainer. Perfect. So just to reiterate, I can run my trust settlement by client report right here in QuickBooks. If I go ahead and look for auto apply, here it is. We got the retainer deposit dated today, $1,000 total balance right there in QuickBooks. In Filevine, this is going to show up in an account in a section called the trust account. Mine was hidden, so I'm just going to expose it here. Here it is. All right, and we're going to go ahead and update from QuickBooks. Sync successful. I can close this tab and just give the Filevine page a refresh here. And as you can see, we've got that total retainer balance right here in Filevine of $1,000. Alrighty, now to the invoicing part. I'm going to navigate to billing, and we'll go ahead and add a time entry in here. Sure, 350 sounds nice. Example. We'll add an expense item to maybe $15 fee. And a flat fee. Review. Alrighty. So we'll go ahead and finalize this. So we'll click create. This is an editing form. I can circulate this for review. When I'm officially ready to lock in this invoice, I'm going to go ahead and finalize it. At the point I finalize it, the integration is going to pick this invoice up and pull it into Filevine for us. All right, so we're looking for invoice 235 in QuickBooks. I'm going to search this project ID. This can also be found in your URL in each project. So let's see, so I'm going to go to my client list here, search that project ID, find my client immediately. And so we can see a couple things happened here. One, our invoice pushed over, FV-235. So you can see this invoice was 235 in Filevine. The reason why there's a -1 as well is because FV-235 already existed somewhere in QuickBooks. So to avoid duplicating invoice numbers, we just add a -1. Just a good kind of accounting idea there. So here's our invoice, and you can see each of our transactions pushed over nicely, $565 invoice. You'll also notice that a payment was automatically made. Let's click into that and take a look. If I scroll down, I can see that we applied a credit memo of $565 against this. So this credit memo, CM235, this is a credit memo that the integration created automatically. You can see when I click into this credit memo, we're creating it for this client. The service date's the same date as the invoice. The product or service is that trust balance applied, which what happens in the accounting is when we hit that decreases our client's trust balance. The description paid with trust automatically populates in the same dollar amount of the invoice. If you were to have a lower trust balance, for example, so if we only had a retainer balance of $500 in this case, and we pushed a $565 invoice over, we would apply that a $500 payment, rendering that retainer account zero and rendering a remaining $65 outstanding on that invoice to the client. So going back to my customer kind of view here, you can see there's no dollars outstanding, there's nothing overdue, there is 2 transactions, there's an invoice and a credit memo. Awesome, so now let's talk about moving the money between your trust account and your operating account. I'm going to navigate over to my saved trust settlement by client report, and I'm going to go ahead and change the date to today. So the idea here is that I made a batch billing transaction. Each of those bills had trust balance and trust balance was applied. So I want to be able to identify and aggregate those to come up with a dollar amount for my bank transfer. So if I look here, this is filtered on just today's date. And so this is showing just the trust settlement activity for today only. So I can see these credit memos. These are the transactions that paid off invoices. So it looks like I maybe did 3 invoices today. You can see our auto apply one is right here. You'll also notice there's a retainer deposit today. That's not going to be included. Those positive amounts aren't going to be included in our transfer because that positive amount was a hypothetical check deposit. So that amount is already going into our real bank account. I'm going to go ahead and pull this into Excel just to quickly sum my transfer amount. All right, there's a few ways to do this. I might just go ahead and filter this. I can filter on transaction type, credit memo, and just get each of these auto apply transactions. You can see that they total to $5,657. Alternatively, this one was pretty simple. I can just manually come in here and sum all the negative numbers. That's an option as well, just like that. So $5,657. That is my transfer dollar amount. Navigating back into QuickBooks, I'm going to record that transfer here under bank transfer. So I'm going to transfer funds from my trust bank account to my operating bank account. In the memo, I'm just going to say batch billing 4/21/2023. I can attach a copy of this Excel workbook as support. It's always a good idea. And here, of course, in the transfer amount, I am transferring this dollar amount. $5,657. Go ahead and save and close. And when I do that, my trust settlement liability account and my bank account in QuickBooks will match. Quick little way to check that those two accounts match. I navigate to my chart of accounts. Mine's kind of easy to do this way because of the way I name my accounts. But I've got trust bank account and trust settlement liability right here, and I can quickly check that these numbers agree. Alternatively, I could of course go and run a standard balance sheet on today's date, and we could see trust bank accounts here, 507,630, and the liability is right here, 507,630. So that's your double check as well. Now, the last thing to do that I can't show you is to log into your trust, your actual online banking for your trust account, and initiate the transfer of that actual money. Alrighty, hopefully this was helpful.